So some people have heard of the Jacobites in history. This has always confused me, because then it's the whole Catholic Church, Scotland, Ireland, England, the uprising. So I get really turned around when trying to follow the different kings and the different clans of Scotland and where they stood. And so anyway, just because honestly, this is, it all goes back to this. Like Scotland goes back to the dinosaur days. It does. It goes back to the giants, like it talks about in Enoch, the giants. That the giants were once a thing before the flood. Yeah. But they weren't the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs were separate. They have evidence of that, but it goes back to the Stone Age. So way before Christ. Which would make sense. I mean, clearly, because of the Old Testament, and God was dealing with the Stone Age back then. But so Scotland's history is rich in going way, way far back to very long. Anyway, to the Jacobites. Who were the Jacobites? When the Stuarts were displaced as the ruling house of Scotland, England and Ireland, a rebellion began. Numerous Jacobite clans and other supporters rallied to restore the Stuart name to power. These supporters were called Jacobites. The name was derived from Jacobus, the Latin word for James. This is where the root of the Jacobite uprising lies. In 1688, James II, also known as James VI. So that's where it gets confusing. So it's James II, I think, for Scotland, but then was James VI in England. So in 1688, James II, also known as James VI, was overthrown. The British government and various nobles did not want a converted Catholic king, and instead gave the crown to James' Protestant daughter Mary. The most renowned uprising in Scottish history started in 1745 under Bonnie Prince Charlie. Huge numbers of clan nobility and clan members rallied in support of Charlie's mission. Many clan members gave their lives to the Jacobite cause. So the Jacobite clans and family names. I'll show them in a minute. In August 1745, Bonnie Prince Charlie landed on the island of Ericsay in Scotland. Scotland clans were initially unenthusiastic that he had arrived, as he did so with hardly any troops. These troops were also simply volunteers. The prince also had hardly any weapons due to the encounters with British government forces at sea. As Charlie marched to Moudart, he inspired over 1,200 people to join the Jacobite rising. These forces were primarily made up of members of the Highland regime. These included members of Clan MacDonald of Glengarry, Clan MacDonald of Keppoch, and here's more. So the following clans rallied for the Jacobite cause. You can see them there. There's another page. It says here, by September 1745, the Jacobite army held in Edinburgh. The French sent weapons as well as an army to aid Prince Charles Edward Stuart and the Jacobite cause. Here's the next page. A notable number of clan chiefs and their members joined the Jacobite rebellion. These clans included Clan MacLeod of MacLeod, Clan MacLeod of Lewis, Clan McIntyre, Clan Mackenzie, Clan MacLean, Clan Ramp. You can read all of them there. Clan. After months of advances, the Jacobite army and its officers reached Derby. However, they had to turn back to Scotland within 150 miles of London. Assurances hadn't been met. The French invasion fleet hadn't progressed to where it was needed. And the English Jacobite support hadn't materialized. In April 1746, the mighty and devastating Battle of Culloden in the Scottish Highlands took place. This was where the Jacobites were defeated. So, Jacobitism was a political ideology advocating the restoration of the Catholic House of Stuart to the British throne. When James II of England chose exile after November 1688, the Glorious Revolution, the Parliament of England ruled he had abandoned the English throne, which was given to his Protestant daughter, Mary II of England, and her husband, William III. On the same basis, in April, the Scottish Convention awarded Mary and William the throne of Scotland. The Glorious Revolution created the principle of a contract between monarch and people, which if violated, meant the monarch could be removed. A key tenet of Jacobitism was that kings were appointed by God, making the post-1688 regime illegitimate. However, it also functioned as an outlet for popular discontent and thus was a complex mix of ideas, many opposed by the Stuarts themselves. Conflicts between Prince Charles and Scottish Jacobites over the Acts of Union 1707 and Divine Right seriously undermined the 1745 Rising. Jacobitism was strongest in Ireland, the Western Scottish Highlands, Aberdeenshire, and then there were pockets of support. In addition to 1689 to 1691, Williamite War in Ireland and Jacobite Rising of 1689 in Scotland, there were serious revolts from 1715 to 1719. And it just goes on and on, all of these revolts. And then they talked about the non-juring schism, which refers to a split in the established churches of England, Scotland, and Ireland following the deposition and exile of James II in 1688 because of the Glorious Revolution. As a condition of office, clergy were required to swear allegiances to the ruling monarch. For various reasons, some refused to take the oath to his successors, William III and Mary II. These individuals were referred to as non-juring. In the Church of England, an estimated 2% of priests refused to swear allegiance in 1689, including 9 bishops. Ordinary clergy were allowed to keep their positions, but after efforts to compromise failed, the 6 surviving bishops were removed. So this ultimately leads to the government and the church, and which is why people fled to America, which is, then our pilgrim story. So this is just sort of the history of what was going on between England, Ireland, and then Ireland is mostly Irish Catholic, but there's been problems. You know what, it's just, and I could be wrong. I'm no historian, I'm no expert, just my opinion. I think that the Catholic Church has been the problem all along. I just do. I look at their history. If you believe in the Bible, and I know I say this all the time, but it's what God said to do. It's what Jesus said to do, is that you should look at the fruits it produces. That's how you know if it's in good soil, or that's how you know what it's about. And the fruits that the Catholic Church continues to produce is bad. I mean, the child molestation problem that's gone on for 75 years, the continued, we're going to fix it. Well, how often do you say you're going to fix it until you really want to get honest and say, you know what, we're not truly following God because we want to protect the denomination rather than protect God's word or stand on God's word. I just have such issue with that, I just do. But that seems to be what the problem is throughout history, really, most especially when you're talking about kings and governments, and there's other problems, but and are some of the popes good? Well, they should have realized they should have never been dressing like the Pharisees. God mocked all that, and the popes and that Catholic Church has always dressed that way.